Hi everyone, it's another day and another dish. As you know, with my cooking, Bordo's kitchen, I try to do three things. There's a tail, a twist, or a tail with a twist, and of course the important adage that 20 minutes, that's all it should take to cook. So executive cooking in 20 minutes. Today I have a very simple dish to cook, but there's a very nice story behind it, a tale. So let me just take you through the tale. So this is going back to May of 1987. I remember distinctly because it was summer break, and the family, dad, mom, and my three elder sisters, we decided to take a tour. So dad was in the railways, the traveling was free. So mom and dad decided that we should go to south of India, because I think I hadn't seen south of India till then. So we decided to do Bangalore, Alleppey, Kovalam, Trivandrum, Mahabalipuram, and Chennai, right? And those days, if those of us from India growing up those days, the travel was by rail. And there was this train called Trivandrum Express. Trivandrum is now called Thiruvananthapuram, which is the capital of the state of Kerala in southwest of India, at the tip of India. And this was the longest train. It was called the Trivandrum Express, and I believe it is even today the longest rail journey in India, about 3,700 kilometers-ish. From my home state, capital of Guwahati, to the capital of Kerala, which was then called Trivandrum, and now it's called Thiruvananthapuram. So it travels through 5 states. So from Assam it goes into West Bengal, gets out of West Bengal, touches the north of what was then called Orissa, and now it's called Odisha, and then goes into Madhya Pradesh, then touches Karnataka, where Bangalore is, and then goes into Kerala, where the end point is Trivandrum. So it used to take about those days 40 hours, and you can always expect the train to be delayed, so roughly 48 hours in a train journey. Now, why am I narrating you this? Is an important story behind this. So India, as you know, can be divided into north and south, east and west, but there's a big divide between the cuisine of north or east and west of India and the south. And there's a train station called Ratlam, which is kind of on the southwest tip of the state of Madhya Pradesh, and the train arrives there about 7:30 p.m. and it's a major junction, so it waits there for about 45 minutes before it makes the onward journey. And Ratlam station is what I call the inflection point between north and south cuisine, critically being the cooking medium, the cooking ingredients, etc. And when you go into dinner after Ratlam, which dinner in India and train is typically served around 9:30 when the train takes off, or at 9-ish, you can straight away feel the flavor of the change that has happened between before Ratlam and after Ratlam, the station. So when we ordered the food, in the typical tray with divided compartments, there was one dish which was beans, which I'll show you the ingredients. But the way they cooked it, it was so different for us. Of course, mom and dad had traveled, but for me, it was so distinct. Coconut oil, coconut, beans, never had it that way. And for the remainder of the journey, whatever you order as your lunch or your dinner, that dish is a must, is always there. And I kind of, by the time you land or you go into Trivandrum, you have developed an acquired taste for that particular dish. And of course, I forgot about it. It was 31 years, almost to a month. And then I was in Bangalore a couple of years back on a visit to one of the IT companies as their client. And, I wanted to go to the canteen. Of course, they wanted to take me out. I said, no, let's have it in the canteen. I love the canteen food. And lo and behold, that dish was there. And then I asked the guy behind the counter, how did he make it? And that's what I'm going to replicate today. So this is the South Indian dish that I fell in love with 31 years ago through an acquired taste. So let me now take you through the ingredients. We've got beans, which is this. So I've already chopped them into kind of bite size, and I'll chop the remaining packet, but I wanted to show you how it's done. Then the must ingredient of coconut, grated coconut, chopped onion. I've now covered it with a foil so that it remains fresh, cling wrap. 2 red chili, tamarind paste, which I'll make into a kind of a little bit of a stir, a little bit of water to add, so the tamarind flavor, and mustard seed. And I'm going to cook this in the coconut oil. Again, I mean, that was a very distinctive flavor taste between mustard oil, where we grew up with, and coconut oil, where typically most South Indian cuisines, you know, the most eclectic and delicious cuisine you can ever have. And growing up in India, for most of us, South Indian cuisine meant just dosa and idli. For those of you from the West, you may not be familiar, but this was something I really fell in love with it. So I'm going to recreate this dish after 31 years having had it for the first time. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to cook this. Alright, hi. Now I'm going to show you how to cook the beans, right? So I've got my coconut oil. I'm going to just light up the fire. It's lit. So I'm going to put coconut oil, kind of 2.5, a little bit more, 3, because this is not going to have water, so it's going to be just on the thing. Stir it a little bit, get it even. So as the hot oil heats up, and this is again a kind of a thin bottom pan, because I want the heat, because there's going to be very little water in this. So as the oil heats up, I'm going to put my mustard seeds, sprinkle the mustard seeds, and the mustard seeds will start to crackle at some stage. It's when I will wait for that crackle to happen. I have chopped the red chilies into small pieces, and I've also made the tamarind paste. So that's the tamarind paste I showed you, and now it's starting to crackle. I can hear it. At this stage, I'll put the chopped onion. Alright. So very distinctive coconut oil flavor with mustard seeds. I'll wait for the onion to kind of become a little bit translucent. Alright, as you can see now, the onion there, this is again a red onion, coarsely chopped. It's kind of becoming a little bit translucent. At this stage, I will add the chopped red chilies, and again, depending on your ability, or you know, to take how much you want to make it spicy, you can add, but I prefer 2 is just about it. And then I'm going to add the coconut, right? Kind of, I've reduced the flame a little bit because the coconut is going to ooze water, and it's again fresh coconut, soft coconut, which I grated at home, not the desiccated ready-made coconut that you get, because that doesn't have the flavor. It kind of adds the thing, but it doesn't have the normal thing. At this stage, the coconut is browning out, and I'm going to increase the flame again and add the beans, right? And I'm going to, on slightly high flame, stir the beans. And at this stage, I'm going to add salt, and I'll do the final salt test later. But what the salt will do at this stage, because what was important in that dish was it's really crunchy with coconut flavor. So I want to retain the same crunchiness of the beans. So I'm going to add the salt to taste, but I want to salt so that it kind of, the beans will ooze the water again. So I'm going to stir it a little bit and fry it till the point where it kind of gives me the flavor. And you can see the coconut blending well. I'm going to mix it well so that, because if the coconut is at the bottom, it will start to burn. So you don't want to do that. It requires a lot of stirring, right? All right, now this I've fried. I'm not online when I'm frying it, so I fried it for about 3-4 minutes. Again on medium to low flame. At this stage, you know, the crunchiness is there. I'm going to do the first salt test. So I'm going to take my chopsticks, take a piece. I'll add a little bit more salt. Remember, the beans it's a very fine cooking because the beans don't absorb the salt. So you have to be careful when you do the bean test in terms of for salt. The beans will not get the salt so much, and it's not a kind of a completely curry type where you do the salt test with the curry. Now at this stage, when it's properly cooked, I'm going to add the tamarind paste. All right. With the tamarind paste, I'm going to add a bit of water. Now this is when I'm going to make it cook, right? A little bit water. The tamarind, as I was told, will add that sour zest to it. So I'm going to stir it properly. I'm going to do one last salt test. And this time I'm going to take a piece of coconut with the bean to see it's there. And again, you don't want it soggy, right? You want it crunchy. So I'm going to basically stir it, and I'm going to lower the flame to lowish, and I'm going to cover it up with my timer set at 5 minutes, and that's it. So I'm going to set it for 5 minutes. It's going to take in that water, cook it, and then I'll come back and show you when the dish is ready to be do the last piece of work. Yeah. All right. So this has now been cooking for 5 minutes. My timer is off, so I'm going to remove this. At this stage, it's well done. You don't want it soggy. You want it crunchy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the flame. Now it's on low, medium. I'm going to make it high, because what I intend to do is to dry the water. So, and this is when you have to keep stirring it so that the water is completely dry. And after it is cooked, don't cover it. Don't cover it, let the coolness, otherwise if you cover it when it's cooked, then it'll cook more. So I'm going to leave it open for it to get properly cooked, as in not to get too cooked and remain the crunchiness. So by doing this, I'm kind of drying that water. The whole idea is to get the water. And obviously, I'm pretty sure in the Indian Railway, when they cook in the pantry, they would be using, steel or aluminium, the big pot where the heat is very, very high, so it dries out faster. So that's why I've used a thin bottom pan to do this. The water is kind of drying out, so I'm going to please make sure you keep stirring it as the water dries out, otherwise it will get burned. You don't want that. So you kind of do this so the water goes in there and the water dries out. And now see, very little water is coming out. I've added the salt, very nice tamarind and coconut flavor, and the water is more or less dry, and I will at this stage switch it off, and there you got a dish which is the beans with coconut, tamarind and mustard seeds, a dish that I really got through an acquired taste way back in May of 1987, courtesy Indian Railways. Ratlam station is the inflection point from north and south, and I recreated this dish for all of you to enjoy. So try and make it and enjoy it. Thanks to all of you.